2018.
Hello.
Try that one more time.
Oh, I'm doing the intro again.
Yes.
Hello again, everyone. Technical difficulties. This time, hopefully everything's working. Welcome to Developer Chat, October 17th,
Hey, there's sound.
2018.
I hear us. I hear us.
Okay, we're having more
Over
technical
there.
difficulties. We're good?
No, that was just a sound test to make sure we're really being live.
Woo. Hello.
Hi.
I'm Will Hungerford. I'm a developer at Privateer Press. This is Oz, also a Will, development manager at Privateer Press. That's Pagani, another Will, also a developer at Privateer Press. And we're the dev team at Privateer Press. If you've never watched this before, let me tell you what you're watching.
Stop seeing through me.
Zip. You were supposed to zip.
Yeah, Zip, you've got green on. We can see through your body. At Privateer Press, we stream 3 times a week. We do weekly Rumble on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific. That's where we get together and we play the games we make. I'm gonna
Like
mention
the
the
Mega
game.
Protocol yesterday.
I was totally gonna seg into that, but we can jump the gun on it if you'd like. Wednesdays, developer chat. It's what you're watching now. It's where we, the development team, talk about what's going on in CID and/or other cool game development stuff, and also we will talk to you and answer questions as we can. Thursdays is easily the best show we put on. It's Get Your Paint On with Dallas Kemp, where he does hobby and teaches you all kinds of tips and tricks for putting your models together and painting them and doing cool things with them. As Oz mentioned, we were doing a Mega Protocol yesterday and the week before because we just launched a Mega Protocol 2nd edition Kickstarter, which funded in 20 hours. Thank you very much to everyone who's backed us. If you're thinking about backing us, and thank you. And even if you're just a fan of Mega Protocol, thank you. The Kickstarter is still up until Halloween. So if you're wanting to get in on it, you still have a chance. There's still plenty of time. You can get the exclusive alternate team leader model. And there's a lot of changes in the 2nd edition. Streamlined rules that Oz has been working on, updated cards, updated monsters, new dashboard abilities, and some of which got tested on the stream yesterday. So
Yeah.
this is not a straight reprint of 1st edition. This is going to have a lot of new material. And there's multiple ways you can back to get different things depending on what you own and what you're interested in. So Halloween, until that's all over, make sure you go check it out over on Kickstarter's website.
Yeah, and you can either search for Level 7 on Kickstarter's website, or you can go to the latest insider at privateerpress.com for a link.
Yep. So speaking of other stuff that's running out of time, I'm going to talk about Mini Crate real fast. Mini Crate is our... Super fast. It's our miniature subscription service, if you've never heard of it. Basically, you sign up, and every month you get a new miniature, and if you sign up for 6 months, you get a VIP miniature as well. The miniature has been available right now, has been the Lady of the Feast. It's an alternate Lord of the Feast. These are all, this completely playable as Lord of the Feast in War Machine and Hordes. If you go to mini-crate.com, you can pick up the Lady of the Feast, and she's only available for 2 more days.
You have less than 48 hours.
Yeah, you are running out of time before she's gone. And these are gone forever. Like, you will not be able to get it again unless something strange happens. If you sign up for the VIP, 6 months, with your next shipment, whichever model it is, you'll get the Alexia Handmaiden of Death, a replacement of Alexia 1, and a great-looking model. And if you haven't heard yet, we have partnered with Fantasy Flight to make Legend of the 5 Rings mini crate miniatures. It'll be a separate line. It'll be its own individual Legend of the 5 Rings line. December 5th is the point you have to sign up to get the first model. And you can check that out at mini-crate.com/L5R.
That is all true.
Everything I've said is 100% true.
100%.
Now,
We didn't mention that the Naga Hunter is the VIP model for that.
well, we didn't have an image of it,
cool.
but I was going to let people go to the website and check. But yes, we're showing off more
There's
and more
some
miniatures.
other renders
Yeah.
and stuff there
Yeah.
to show off and take a look at.
Lady with
so-
a hammer.
The Crab Champion is my favorite.
She is hands down. Hida Tomonatsu is hands down my favorite one so far.
I think you mean claws down, because Crab Champion.
Yeah, but she doesn't have claws. She has a giant hammer, and she's about to just burst people's melon.
Oh, I know, but
I saw another one.
so
I saw another model in the studio the other day, and I don't know which one it is. I didn't see a clan symbol on it, but
Oh, I'm going to have to go look at it then.
yeah.
So before we get started, we are streaming live right now at twitch.tv/privateerpress. If you're watching this later, we upload every stream we do onto YouTube, so you may be watching this on youtube.com/privateerpressprime. If you see us look kind of off to the distance, Oz has a great reading chat face.
It's happening right now.
Chat's live. We will occasionally say someone's username, read their question, and answer them. And if you want to join in on the fun, you saw the times, always 10 a.m. Pacific, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Join us and come on Twitch and chat.
Hang out with us.
What up,
We enjoy your company.
Okay, we have gone through all the news.
That's the news.
Let us go through the main topic. Pagani, tell us, good sir,
Oh, hello.
what are we talking about today?
We're going to talk a little bit about the Scorn CID. We're going to talk a little bit about the Freshman Lucas CID. And specifically, we're going to focus on new changes that happened on Tuesday?
Monday.
I don't know what day any day.
I believe it was,
anymore. Now that I have a baby,
it was
it's
Monday.
all
It was
this
Monday.
It was Monday.
We made those
Earlier
changes
this week, maybe.
late Monday.
No, I'm sticking with it. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Makeda 3, who's
Yep.
been a pretty hot topic of conversation recently.
Underground Heretic just thanked you guys for opening her discussion.
Yeah.
Good timing.
There we go. And we have Hate Me Now.
Hate me now.
Nice.
Hate me now.
No,
is
hate-
specifically asking about the Razer Worm and where we think it's going and have we seen their threads and things like that. We'll get there.
Stick around, folks.
Stay tuned.
So we're going to talk about the changes that occurred on Monday, sort of why they changed.
Was it Monday?
It was Monday.
It was Monday.
What if it wasn't?
But it was.
Okay.
It still
was
is.
Monday.
And the thing we should note is that this CID is ending next Monday.
Next Monday.
So if you are
Both CIDs are.
both CIDs are ending next Monday. So if you want
Yes,
to
so
get
that's
your
actually an announcement. We are going to push the Freshman Locust CID on through the weekend. We had a couple of requests because we did make a rather sizable change on Monday that people wanted a couple more days to give it some playtests. So we're going to push that through all the way to Monday.
But you have until next Monday. Go to cid.privateerpress.com, sign up on the forums, get your battle reports in. Remember, battle reports are the most important feedback you can give us, more so than the theory and list threads. So jump in, get your battle reports in, because we're about to wrap things up. We're running out of time.
Yeah.
So first things up, Makeda. Let's just jump right in.
Let's do it.
Yep.
She's the first on my list here. She went up to War Beast points plus 25 from 24. Players were asking for this because it allows her to take a second unit of minimum beast handlers inside of Imperial Warhost,
Yep.
while also being able to get their third free card. So that was a nice, I'm going to call it a quality of life change. It's definitely a power level change, but it was like a nice little bump that happened there. And then we also replaced Hand of Death with Hand of Ruin.
Yep.
This is where a lot of the contention came in. A lot of people felt that her identity was very much tied to Hand of Death as that sort of pseudo-berserk overtake thing that she could do with her battle group. And I think that's a fair statement. I think that was a very large portion of her identity. And when we changed it to Hand of Ruin, that went away because now it is only warrior models that can do it. And what that does is it stops the sort of infinite chain that can occur, which isn't actually infinite.
It's positional to a certain extent.
It's positional, and
Yeah.
it requires the opponent to have models, like infantry models and stuff on the board. So it wasn't really infinite, but you get what I'm saying. So the idea here was kind of to remove the ability for like Moloch Karn and other war beasts to be able to do this because it was incredibly efficient. And when we added Insight, it made it even more efficient, right? Because now Moloch Karn is Mat 9, or the Bronzeback's Mat 9, or the other Titans are Mat 8. They can hit those infantry a lot more consistently without boosting. And what that allowed it to do was sort of kill a whole unit of infantry, or the majority of a unit of infantry, get to a heavy, kill that heavy, and then depending on positioning, it's entirely possible that with Insight, because once again the Bronzeback goes like POW 21 with 9 attacks, could then kill another heavy. So like your
Anything
Bronzeback
clumped up, it just
it would
kind of just be dead.
Basically, if you get in its melee range, you die.
So-
is basically what would be happening.
The individual aspects of the efficiency were okay, but the force multiplier of all everything together made it basically be pushed too far. It
Yes.
was the interaction that we were seeing.
And because it also gave things like grievous wounds, it was removing counterplay because like it worked against every type of infantry, right? You couldn't martyrdom it, you couldn't tough it, you couldn't do any of those kind of things. You couldn't use rapid healing to survive. So it was just like a compounding issue. Is it possible, or what? And we definitely want to keep Insight on Makeda. Personally, that's a thing that I really like on this caster. I think it really fits into the direction that we explained at the beginning of the CID about how we wanted her to lead from the front, and we wanted her to be supporting her army, and then also, of course, be very personally threatening, right? Like that's a big thing as well. So
It was pretty
that
good in the
combined
playtest
with
game I played
Bulwark,
yesterday.
yeah, that combined with Bulwark, pretty fantastic. Like all about it. So I think that is kind of the core that us as developers see for Makeda. And then where she goes from there, we have a dev talk going right now on it, a dev chat, I guess is what we're calling those, where we're talking about different options with players. And we do have 6 different options that we gave. These are certainly not set in stone, that it will be one of these 6. And that discussion is going on right now. That post is, I think, well over 300 posts.
And we're going to keep it open.
CID set in stone. I see what you did there.
And we're going to keep it open till Thursday.
It'll stay open until tomorrow morning. I believe I said 9 a.m., but I'm not great with time right now, so...
The baby is
Yes.
ruining everything about your mind.
Yes. So the options that we gave in the dev talk, which I just kind of want to go through real quick and talk about what I think the strengths or the weaknesses of each one are in terms of what it does for the character and what it does for the game and what it does for the faction. Leaving K3 as she currently is with Insight and Hand of Ruin. I think K3 is probably in a fine place right now. I don't think she's she's certainly not as exciting as she was before, right? Because you couldn't like have a Malakarn run around and kill a million things. But I think it's certainly a much more balanced version of Makeda in terms of not spiking in power level, especially in certain matchups where that spike was very prevalent and could happen. So that's kind of option 1 that we gave. Option 2 was just change back everything. There were a bunch of people on Facebook that were like, I would rather play original Makeda than this Makeda, which I'm pretty sure was hyperbole, right? Like I think a lot of people really like the direction that we've gone here. And we've seen that, right? Like when
I will say that I do not like this option at all. Like personally. Like
well, yeah, I
reverting
think it
her.
was an emotional response from a lot of people that were just kind of like stamping their feet, which is fine. Like you can have emotional responses, that's great, but realize that you're not going to be taken seriously when you say things like that. Like,
Yeah.
that's just what's going to happen. Option 3, Makeda and the unit gains overtake. Hand of Ruin grants grievous wounds to inly friendly faction models' melee weapons, but does not grant overtake. People don't seem to like that one too much, because to me it just seems kind of a weaker version of what we have going on at the moment. Like it does give Makeda overtake base, which is solid, but I don't know. I personally would prefer the flexibility of having a spell that I can cast to give overtake.
The game I play tested yesterday,
So.
we play tested her with having the overtake on herself base, and it was fine. Like, you know, but like you said, it's definitely a little bit weaker given what
Yeah.
everything she loses.
Yeah. So that was option 3. Option 4 now is give overtake to the unit. Fine. And the Hand of Ruin becomes a cost 2 spell that gives entropic force to the models in her unit. I think this is a much more interesting version than option 3. I think entropic force is an incredibly powerful rule.
I agree.
And yeah, I would much prefer 4 to 3, I guess. Is
I
what
want
I'm
to see the
saying.
battle reports on that one.
Sure,
Plus,
sure.
she can
because-
spread out that entropic force quite a bit on those 3
Absolutely,
models.
absolutely, right? Like she's command 10, so those 2 little escort ladies can run to be 10 inches away from her, so you can get this giant entropic force bubble going on there. So to me, that one is much more interesting than 3. 5, replace Hand of Ruin with Deathbringers, see Iacos 1. What that is it's a non-upkeep cost 2 spell that says all models in your battle group get grievous wounds on their melee weapons.
Yep.
Once again, I think I would rather see Hand of Ruin change to Entropic Force than a spell like that. 1, I think it's unique. 2, I think it's more powerful, which I think is kind of where we want to go with Makeda at the moment. And then option number 6, replace Insight with Vortex of Destruction and return Hand of Death, which is very similar to put her back to before CID.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm not a huge fan of that one.
I think option 4 is the one I'm most interested in at the moment.
Yeah, so option 4 to me, probably the most exciting. We've had
Yeah.
a bunch of other feedback come through that thread. Some other things that I think have popped up that I personally really like that we haven't had a chance to discuss with the dev team yet. I really like Cyclone. I think that's really cool with her, and I think it interacts in a really interesting way with Blood Boon. Like, because you can charge in, kill some dudes, Cyclone to move into another set, like do that kind of stuff. I think it's
Pseudo
really
threat.
cool. I think it
Yeah.
gives you a cool repositional ability. It also kind of stacks with Fatewalker from Malakarn because you can use both in the same turn.
Yep.
So you get a lot of movement out of it. So that is kind of a
Super
direction
cool
that I
ninja.
would really like to explore is Cyclone and what that does. Yeah.
Chat is currently agreeing with you about Cyclone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's
I
really
mean,
cool.
it's dynamic
So.
as hell, right? It's
Yeah.
super cool.
Well,
it's
it's
going to be fun on the tabletop. But I
If
don't
we
know.
want her to be, well, what we want her to be is leading from the front. One thing you need is a way to protect your caster. Right now, she's got Bulwark to do that, right? But this allows her to Bulwark, get in there, get some work done. Rolling dice and making and doing active things with your caster is always fun, especially when they're such a beater. And so being able to kill a couple guys and then get back to the safety of Bulwark is really intriguing. I'd want to test it a couple times to make sure it's not crazy busto, but it seems fun.
There are a bunch of people in chat right now asking like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, what about this? That's what the dev chat's for. I would go there and
Because we're
talk
not
about that
gonna
kind of
remember
stuff.
half the
'cause
stuff that
one,
we're
we're not
seeing
going to
in the
remember
chat.
half the stuff from what is happening in chat, and 2, we can only be here for a little bit. So like we could sit here and I could talk about Makeda for 3 hours, but that's what the dev chat's for.
Makeda, 3 hours?
Put your feedback there. I like it. Yeah, put your feedback there. If you think you have something that would be cool, that is on point, thematic, and meshes well with one of these options, feel free to bring it up in that dev chat. So, cheers.
Cool.
That's Makeda.
CID.privateerpress.com.
Yes.
So-
Next up, Air to Sentinel.
Yeah, he lost Gunfighter.
He lost Gunfighter.
And that's mainly from the battle reports we were reading. I know that some people are saying, well, now without Gunfighter, like he's too easily mitigated, but like the point of the Sentinel now is to kind of go sit in the edge of a zone and just plant itself there and clear stuff off. And with Gunfighter, it was just entirely too efficient based on the battle reports and what we were seeing from everybody. So we cut Gunfighter so that maybe someone else in your army has to clear it off so that it gets those sprays. Its melee attacks aren't the strongest, but that's what the soldier's for, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like this is just, it's like a buggy little turret that you walk up and you're like, sit here.
Yeah, and
Clear
it still
chaff.
has 2
You
melee attacks.
mean he lives up to his name as a sentinel?
Yes.
He does. He's also got Carapace and he's armed 19.
I know, like-
so he's armed 23 against 3 strikes. Just
Yeah.
walk away and shoot stuff.
Yeah.
Like you'll be fine. You
Yep.
got Paingivers to heal him if he does take any damage. I don't think this is as substantial as some people are making it out to
No.
be. I mean, it's certainly a nerf, right? Like it's a reduction in power level.
But it was too efficient.
But it was too efficient before, and honestly, this thing is still amazing.
Yeah.
So I also I see a lot of times in the CID, and not just CID, but also in the Facebook groups and stuff, where people are like, "Poison only works against half the game, so it's terrible." No, like Poison's amazing.
And it's not half the game.
It's well more than half the game.
Most of the infantry in the game?
It's yes, and the vast majority of the warcasters
Yeah.
and warlocks and warbees, like it just.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it for 1 second. Not 1 second.
So sentinel, hold a zone, not clear a zone.
Sure.
Well, clear zone if it
I'm even
walks
fine
up.
with the clearing zones.
But-
What you don't
but-
want
but the
is it
primary
killing
focus.
like casters all over the table and stuff,
Yeah,
right? Which
yeah.
I think Gunfighter
Yeah.
was kind of allowing it to do.
Yes.
So, yep,
The bronze back is the next thing. It was just a clarification of a typo.
correct. Yes. So
We'd
it was
accidentally
range
left.
6. It's now range 7.
We'd have the range in one place disagreeing with the range in another place, but it was intended to be self originally, so we clarified that.
Let's talk about Tiberian and his point cost change. So the Tiberian went down a point to 19, and there's actually been a lot of interesting feedback where some people were like, huh, about that. That a lot of people were showing us they were kind of happy with Tiberian. They were very surprised at that point drop. We did a lot of review of where he was in the faction and where we thought he was stacking up. So again, we're going to keep watching the battle report, seeing what list he's going in and making sure that point value is correct. There's a chance he goes back up to 20. That's a very real possibility. So we're just taking the data, looking at what's going on, and making sure that he is a viable choice and that 19 doesn't make him too good for his points, especially when compared to other things. Like, you've got to compare him to the Sentry and other sturdier Titans out there.
So I want to hit a couple of these chat questions right quick. Emmanuel Class says, give her a revive so she can bring back the court and synergize with the Supreme Guardian. So the Supreme Guardian will already bring back the court. So she already synergizes with the Supreme Guardian that way. And Makeda has nothing to do with like bringing back dead people. Some of her previous incarnations have like stay death and stuff, but that's like forcing people to live through sheer willpower. If they're already dead or destroyed, especially exalted things, she has nothing to do with their creation or their return to play. So that is certainly off concept and is not going to be happening.
We saw a lot of requests for assault on the Sentinel.
I think that is possibly even more abusive than Gunfighter was on the Sentinel.
Yep.
Because of, once again, we're not necessarily upset with like it spraying and clearing zones. We're upset with it assaulting 6, 8, 10 inches after it's been buffed up with speed stuff to kill casters is mostly what we're worried about with that kind of stuff. So.
Yep. Hateman now says for the Eridus, is Swarm the right thing since it's a Fury 3 beast? Should there be something else? We talked about for a while, Swarm is definitely very on concept for what he does, and also is just a great animus to make available to your casters. And sometimes a beast animus is not the strongest part of their package. You know, the Sentinel, honestly, if it just didn't have an animus, is still a great beast. So having Swarm is sort of icing on the cake on him. We're not looking for like a rage or anything like super powerful, where the beast is almost defined by the amazing animus it has. It's just good. And let's see if we have any other questions we want to get to right now.
That's kind of all I got in chat at the moment.
Yeah.
Yep. Extoller Advocate.
Much like the Bronzeback, Explorer Advocate got an update. Gravewind was not supposed to grant concealment and +2 defense to everything.
Yeah.
Just +2 defense. Once again, Abadan was also supposed to go down to 5 boxes, which was listed in the change notes for last week, but was not in the PDF, so we updated the PDF for that. Marketh received standardization between all of the different guys with that eye, that laser
Yep.
eye. They all have soul-powered Ghost Shot, or sorry, not soul-powered. They'll have Gunfighter and Ghost Shot, and we cut soul-powered because that card is getting really
Yeah,
full.
if people are wondering why Soul
really,
Powered
really
went, like Pagani was saying, that card was just too chunky. And honestly, like, yeah, you could buy extra. How many times has Optimus really like whacked stuff with a stick? Sure, it comes up, but it's not. I mean, it's kind of like, would you rather have that or would you rather have the Ghost Shot and Gunfighter? And I think Ghost Shot and Gunfighter are far more relevant when they would come up. I still think they're lower relevancy compared to the other things he does now, but like Soul Powered was not a rule. It didn't need to be on him.
Yes. The Novitate.
Extoller Novitate?
Novitiate.
No.
Nope.
No, we've been corrected multiple times in meetings. It is
Definitely
not
not that.
novitiate.
Then a bunch of people need
Definitely
to change
not
how it's
that.
spelled.
It is novitate. Novitate.
Yeah, I don't know.
Novitate. That's how I said it.
Hammerman?
Yeah, Hammerman.
Hammerman.
Stone's Wrath went to turn instead of round for duration. This was for a lot of reasons, one of which was Jason was not a particular fan of POW 20 Defensive Strike on Supreme Guardians, but we still want it to affect the Supreme Guardian in general. Collateral damage to that is the POW 16 Defensive Strike on Ancestral Guardians. Unfortunate. But it's also a synergization thing. Jason was not a fan about how the vast majority of these type rules only last for a turn versus a round.
Yeah.
So it's partially that. It's partially a power level thing. It's, yeah.
Yaldo Hans in chat says he thinks his Marketh, in all the years he's owned him, has only ever bought 2 swings with the stick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a super relevant rule, and it gave us some card real estate to add these other rules.
I'm just impressed by your memory, Yaldo.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well, I mean,
he's
it's very
only played
memorable.
him, like, in one game ever.
It's very memorable when Marketh buys attacks.
Yeah.
So.
Hakar. Hakar the Destroyer went down to 6 points.
Yep. Take that, Company of Iron.
Do you want to go through the reasons of why he changed?
Well, I mean, there were a lot of people that were saying that he was overcosted. It's not particularly relevant in the theme because he can be free.
He's just free.
But it does matter for things like out-of-theme lists, which some of our casual players play for sure.
And for Company
it
of
certainly
Iron.
matters for
And
things
for
like
Company
Company
of
of
Iron,
Iron
yeah.
and stuff. Because we definitely agreed that he may not have been living up to a 7-point price tag. And he's kind of where we want him to be, so we don't really want to make him better. So, yeah. There you go.
The Immortal Vessel is just another one of those consolidating all the extollers with the laser eye. Like, everybody with that stone eye has these abilities. And so putting Gunfighter on it was just a typo. We had not really considered all of the consistency.
Yep.
Now they're more consistent. And the Fresh from Locust, which is a different CID entirely.
Well, before we get to the conversion stuff, let's just skip down real fast and just hit the Exalted Theme Force real quick.
Sure.
And then we'll do all the...
Sure.
So, you want this one?
Yeah, you go for it.
Okay. So this one was actually the cleanest way to make sure that Makeda 3 was not getting a movable object. Because she has the word Exalted in Exalted Court, and how our triggering works for when special rules are granted to certain things, that made her an Exalted model. So she was getting a movable object. This new wording, as far as I can tell, and CID help me out here, has essentially no functional change to anything that's going on in that CID. In terms of what is gaining this, except that Makeda 3 is no longer gaining it.
And she was never intended to have it.
I would also guess that this will be getting a friendly faction construct models.
Okay.
Or Scorn construct models. So
Chat has brought up multiple times. We mentioned the Razer Worm earlier at the beginning of this. You said we would get to that in a bit, and it's not on our sheet, so we haven't talked about the Razer Worm yet. So let's do our due diligence and talk about the Razer Worm for a second.
Razer Worm.
So the Razer Worm didn't have any changes. All that's really happened throughout the CID is it's gone up to range 1.
Got half an inch of melee range.
Yeah, you got a half inch of melee range. And I've seen some comments of people looking like they're feeling it's maybe not efficient enough for its point cost, that it doesn't have like a place. How are you feeling about it, Pagani? Because I know how I feel.
I think the Razer Worm's amazing.
Yeah.
I think he's super cheap. I
Yeah.
think he's not like a workhorse beast. I think he's a utility beast. I think Drag, Blow, and Dig In are incredible. I think Spiny Growth is a great animus when relevant. Yeah.
Like when I look at my Bull Snappers and my Bone Swarms and I look at a Razer Worm, I'm like, man, that thing's awesome.
Yeah, I think the Razer Worm,
It fits in that whole area of a light that just does what it does.
does a little bit of work,
right?
and it is very utilitarian. And I think it's like amazing for contesting zones and flags. I think it's great for taking flags. Like you can kill something and then sprint back to the flag with Drag Blow. Like I think it's just a really solid war beast.
So
Is it something that you're going to be like, oh my God, Scorn is defined by the Razer Worm? Absolutely not. But I think that guy does a lot of work in a lot of games, and I think it's an efficiency piece that it probably is going to be the first thing you reach for, but I think it might fill out that last little points. So.
But obviously, there's apparently a big conversation going on with CID. I will admit that I have not been able to catch up with it just yet and read it in the TNL, but we will be paying attention to it and definitely reading it once the CID, as the CID continues and when it ends.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've gone through a lot of those threads and stuff and read stuff, and I think there are some fine suggestions in there, but I'm just not sure we really need to make it better.
Yeah. So convergent stuff. Let's start with the first from Locust.
Fresh from Locust.
Yep. You want to handle that one, Oz?
We tuned it down a tiny bit.
Yep.
Its rat was 7 for a while,
Yep.
but we got some feedback that maybe it was bonkers, crazy, insane, powerful. So we've looked at it again and dialed it back a little bit, and then we reevaluated Arcane Vortex to give it Void Generator, which is an ability we talked about off and on during its development.
Yes.
Giving it a mage static related ability. And I like this ability better because I think it's more interesting. And situationally, things can move around now because he hands it out to somebody and then doesn't have to be near for his Arcane Vortex to work.
Yep. The other change was Clockwork Legions. The fourth benefit changed to all the medium-based infantry, the Eradicators, the Perforators, and the rest. Let's actually call them Reciprocators. So in playtests, sometimes we pronounce things wrong on purpose, so we don't say Reciprocators. We'll say Reciprocators.
You could read it that way.
Or we'll say Profiteers instead of Perforators. I do it mainly just to...
Annoy people?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. But this is another one of those
They all got vengeance.
rules targeting issues. It was affecting other models because it used to say medium-based units or something like that. And so we just basically specified the exact models it applies to. So our intent.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's just those models have the vengeance now. You don't have to worry about anything else.
Sure.
Plus, feel free to use Reciprocator anytime you want. So that's the
I'm sure
change.
there are people out there saying Reciprocator.
And don't say Carapace. Say
Carapace.
Carapace.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
Your Slayers have
apparently,
Carapace?
in my absence, when the Supreme Guardian was getting fixed up, something changed on it apparently, and now it says Grunt Warrior models into play, which does not let it return Makeda's 2 bodyguards.
Yeah.
You also mentioned the worm going up to the flag,
my
but
bad.
beasts don't score flags.
Well, sure, but they can
contest.
they can hang out
Yeah.
there.
Like, we all have
It's a
Dev
great
Brain,
little piece.
and you have a baby.
Yeah.
So what's up with the Supreme Guardian? It's fine.
Sure. Well, I mean, when I played it last, it did.
Yeah. Like, I promise you, no
Yes.
one's going to kill you in the comments over it.
I mean, they're literally doing it right now.
Are they killing
but
you in the
that's
comments?
fine.
Now, Sabra's got it right. Sabra in chat says, I blame baby brain. Sabra is 100% correct.
Yeah, and I mean, I put beasts on flags all the time.
Yeah.
It's good to contest, man. And that guy gets places he should never be.
No.
Like charge up, get somewhere, go over there. It's great. All about it. All about it.
So everything we've talked about right now, obviously, if you want to get your input, there's a lot of going on in chat, but we can answer a couple questions, and we're going to answer a few questions here in a second before we wind things down today. But the best way to have your voice heard is to go to cid.privateerpress.com, post there, especially get your battle reports in. Battle reports, and then going using the type form and doing the rating system and giving your feedback through that form is 100% the best way to make your voice and your opinion heard to us. Because there's a lot going on, and we will miss things, especially if there's discussions going on in the theory and list building. We're going to spend the majority of our time in the battle reports. So just a reminder, you got till Monday before it all shuts down.
And don't put theory and list building comments in the battle report section, please. Play a game, describe what happened in the game, and then give
your feedback
based on what happened in the game.
And then put your theory
and explain your feedback based on what happened in the game.
Yep.
Don't just say, I played this model, it's not good because it didn't win me the game, because that doesn't teach us anything, because we weren't there watching you, we don't know what happened.
There's a question I want to hit up real fast that I always like towards the end, and it's from Gun Mage. Hey, Gun Mage, how's it going, man? How do we feel that the CID is at overall? Especially, he's especially excited about the gargantuans. How do we feel that the Hydra and the Mammoth are doing? So how do we feel about the CID currently, week 3, going into the wind down?
I know there are a lot of people that are concerned about the survivability on the Hydra. I think that thing is almost perfect, and here it comes. I said it. Everyone gets to yell at me now.
Also, it is a
said
giant.
almost.
It's a giant pile of attacks.
Yeah, I think that thing
it's
is
very
like a tactical nuke.
It's very much on the offensive side of that spectrum when it comes to gargantuans and colossals and survivability. It puts out a lot of damage.
It does, and I don't think it's supposed to be the super durable piece. And I think its durability is fine. Honestly, if I was going to change its durability, I would argue for bonus defense on it, because I think it's an 8, maybe a 9. But I think it could go up to a 10 or an 11, and I don't think that would necessarily be an issue. And that's kind of where I would look at for its defense. I wouldn't necessarily go to hit points, armor, any special rules or anything like that.
I think the Mammoth is much more exciting than it was before
Yeah.
CID. I think it
Yeah.
has just really fun, cool, interesting. It may have not gotten the most like great power level increase. It's still a really solid piece, but I feel like when you put your Mammoth on the table now and you play with this thing, you're going to have fun. That siege battery fire and the like all the new stuff that it picked up. It's just fun, and that's a thing we talk about. Like on the dev team, we each have our individual strengths, and sometimes we will look at things as purely like, what does this faction need from game design? Like, does it need repair, stuff like that? And sometimes it's just like, is this fun? I spent all this money on this model, I put it together, I painted it. Am I going to have a good time playing with it? And I think the Mammoth is a lot more exciting.
So another type of question that's popping up in chat is War Machine Weekend pre-releases. We're not going to answer those questions because that stuff ships out,
We don't know.
and
We know.
things are changing on the list up until it ships out.
Yeah.
And so if we say Model X will be at War Machine Weekend, and something happens and it doesn't get there, then we make people sad.
Saber, when you messaged me on Facebook earlier and said you would give me cookies to tell you if Iona would be there, I actually can't answer because what Oz just said.
Yeah.
I would love to lie to you and get free cookies, but
Definitely maybe.
Because a lot of times we
But I can't.
make plans 100% for a model to be somewhere, and then when the shipment goes out, it missed because something happened in the warehouse or production or something. So we try not to promise anything like that before you see what it is. So Thursday, the 1st, is it the 1st?
Meyer will be there.
Meyer will be there, but we promised Meyer would be there a long time ago.
I feel like we should have a spoiler for Meyer.
No,
I'm going to do it.
no.
He's immune to corrosion.
Nice.
I thought you were going to give like the big one.
So you'll know what models are being sold at War Machine Weekend Thursday, I think at 8 p.m. when like pre-release
Pagani. I heard.
VIP store opens War Machine Weekend.
I got your back,
So
John.
there you go.
He does croak stuff.
He does croak.
He's a frog.
He's a frog.
Striker 911 says, what changes are you still keeping an eye on? Are there any changes specifically we want more data? Like, is there a hot button, a hot topic we want the most data on leading into the end of the CID?
I mean, definitely MK3,
Yeah.
right? Like that's been a hot button in the past couple days.
Mac
So we
3.
want more feedback there, right? Like tell us what you want, tell us what you want to see, and if we can do it, we will. If we can't, we won't. And then, yeah, that's kind of it for me.
Cool. Smart Alex says this is a good one. The Enigma Foundry update, how's it working out?
Love it.
I
Great.
played a Legion's list with 4 of them, all bringing people back and being able to activate yesterday.
Yep. I discussed yesterday a change with Souls that I think people are going to really like, which is removing the second of the 3 qualifications for where you can put models.
Yeah, so still have to be within 2 inches of the Foundry and information, but removing the also within 3 inches of someone in the unit.
Yeah.
Because that came up in my game where I was able to bring back pretty much everything I wanted except for a couple of the Angels, and I think it's most relevant on the Clockwork Angels because
agree.
they want to be out there.
I agree.
So yeah, when we finished playtesting, we kind of came to the same conclusion, and then we all talked about it, and I think I wouldn't be shocked if that happens.
Yes. I'm actually pretty sure that's gone live with our update.
I'm
hopefully
excited to
not.
see some of the lists that people build with that change because I love Clockwork Angels. I think they're like super dope.
Cheddar Caveman asks, how's the Circle Dynamic update looking?
It looks fine.
It's on. It exists.
It looks totally fine.
Raven asked,
In the state it's in right now,
It looks fine.
it looks fine.
Raven asked, will Meyer be available on the web store, or do you need a Ninja?
No, you do not need a Ninja.
Yeah.
It should be available on the web store. Like that place, I'm 98% certain.
And I will say,
2% margin of error, but I'm pretty solid.
without giving a spoiler, I will say if you play Hordes,
Get
you-
Meyer.
well, except for Grimkin, you want Meyer.
Also, Meyer is not an exclusive model like Brugrash or those kind of things. Meyer's a real model.
He's a real boy.
So I believe he's getting pre-released at War Machine Weekend, and then will be put in the schedule just like the regular, like the Journeyman Zeros and those kind of models that sometimes come out early, but then get dropped into the regular schedule.
The
at some-
pre-release comes with goodies, though.
Yeah,
and
but the pre-release
it'll be-
does come
and
with
it'll
some
be,
special
and if
stuff.
I'm not mistaken, it is a pretty significant pre-release. I think the regular release is a while away.
Quite a ways.
Sure, sure.
I kinda think like Eilish with no quarter prime 1. Like
Yeah.
the sculpt took.
Eilish is a pretty good comparison. I think
Smarter
it's gonna
Child
be really popular.
asked, there's been a
I said
proliferation.
it. I got you, boo.
That word's hard to say.
Proliferation.
Proliferation of tough no knockdown in the game in recent CIDs, and what's going on with that. So, and that is a design philosophy change from Mark III launch, is what he said. True. I don't think anyone can argue that is not true. But all, I'm not going to say all, because that always gets me in trouble, along with the word perfect. The vast majority of tough no knockdown things in the game currently have a counterplay potential. So like in Exalted, right, like you can kill the little hammer guy, the Novitate, and then they no longer have tough. So as an example, that's one thing. An exemplar, you can get tough on your exemplar. You can kill Gravis. They no longer have no knockdown, right? You can kill the book. So all of these things have usually a single linchpin model. It's either the one that gives them tough or the one that gives them steady or some other form of no knockdown that can be removed. And that is the kind of no knockdown tough that we like versus the we just always have it and it's unconditional and blah.
And if we do have it, like for example, Gorton, right? Like that's on a caster and it's very defining of what they do.
Sure.
Right? Like something like Solid Ground is the exception, not the rule.
Well, I mean, solid ground is fine because it can be removed.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and you can also, of course, use grievous wounds and all these other things to get rid of tough, not just getting rid of the actual interaction on the model. So, like, whereas that is becoming more and more common, it is certainly not without answer, and it is certainly not without thought. So,
Chain Attack Trev says, originally there had been discussion about reducing the Extollar Advocate soul cap to 3 as a quality of life improvement for Exalted Theme Force without Zal Supreme Guardians. That's still a possibility.
it is, though its discussion didn't really yield that there was one way that the community wanted it over the other. Some people really like it at 5, some people really liked it at 3. Generally speaking, when something like that happens, we stick with the no change because, you bought what you bought because that's what it did. So if we can't get a definitive answer one way or the other, we're going to go with the no change.
Yep.
So is it still on the table? Yes, it can still be discussed, but at the moment, we won't be making that change.
And just to keep, talking about it, Trioff asked why it's a novitiate or whatever. That's a real word. It's a little archaic, and it's usually people who are like nuns in training and stuff. That's how it's applied. It's applied much like the word novitiate. Sometimes it's pronounced like the word novitiate. It depends. And
Can confirm they're both very similar.
Yeah, and sometimes when we pick words, we pick weird, edge case words that are still real words. Most of the words in the game are real words that apply to stuff.
Chat broke me.
What happened?
No, I can't read it. It's inappropriate,
which one?
but
Which
it's
one
there
is
and
it?
it's amazing.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yaldo's comment?
Yaldo Hans?
Yes.
Yeah, Yaldo, we see your comment.
Oh.
We can't.
Well, yeah.
We can't repeat that.
Yeah.
Maz.
I see that. I see that one.
We can't. We can't. say
So
that.
good.
And
So-
puissance is a real word.
Poissons.
Yeah, it's a totally real word.
Poissons.
Look it up on the internet and have the pronunciation guide say it to you over and over again.
So let's see if there's a couple more questions we're going to hit before we wrap this up and go to Jimmy John's.
We're not all.
Dragon Puppet has, does it look like Zol will be able to take Ancestral Guardians and any themes as mentioned early in week 1?
No. Because we're just going to add them to some things.
That's a discussion we're currently having of do we add them to some themes or do we still make it like that, and we will decide that before the dynamic update comes out. And right now we're leaning on, just like we did with other support models, adding them to more themes.
Correct.
Travis says, what does the Dracodile do in Extreme Colossal Wrestling? Sorry, I was just reading that question because I saw...
We released its rules
Yeah,
publicly.
the rules are
that's
available
out.
online. The Triple Threat expansion came out. You can find it on the Insiders. So all the rules for him, the Sea King, and the
Swampy Pete.
words, the Crucible Guard one.
I gotta give it to you. I was gonna see how deep you had to dig to get to it.
I kept thinking.
And also, Travis, you've been posting links to things in the chat the entire time, and you didn't know that was a link to a thing.
I know.
Real
Travis,
out there.
letting me down. Love you, but letting me down.
Yeah, and something about land crabs.
Yep. And no Infernal spoilers. Anybody? Sorry.
Yeah, Dorian keeps asking about Infernal spoilers. Infernal CID is not going to be for months and months and months because it's a new faction releasing Lock and Load, so it'll be in the spring, just like the previous ones were, probably on the same general schedule. We won't be doing spoilers for that for a while.
One last question I saw come up in multiple places. I just want to hit, and this is from Matt Shirock over on Facebook. Any chance the Cannoneer gets siege weapon for its siege gun? The answer currently is no. No, sorry. Any chance? Anything's possible. We have discussed it.
It's been talked about.
It's been talked about, so it's not something we didn't think about or ignored. We did talk about it, looked at everything it's doing, and the answer currently is no. We're not interested in giving it siege weapon on a siege gun.
Yeah. And that's mostly a power level thing. We don't want to have to crank its points up or take away other abilities from it and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So Hate Me Now has posted like 10 things in chat, and I'm sorry that we haven't called you out on all of these things.
But they're all about.
But they're all questions about the Razer
Worm
Worm and what we could do to change the Razer Worm. Yeah, it's a discussion. We can definitely have that discussion. You guys are currently having that discussion on CID, and that is the correct venue for that discussion.
Yep.
It's much easier to review that discussion.
Absolutely.
And
than,
that's
than
why.
in the chat.
It's not. Don't ask questions in chat. It's just when it comes to those kind of things that
Correct.
require better review
Yeah.
and a more robust discussion. CID.privateerpress.com, way better, because then it can be taken in as a whole instead of pieces we might miss.
And Hey Me Now, never apologize for being a Worm fanboy. That's totally okay.
Yeah, it's legit.
Yeah.
Passion and
Yeah.
enthusiasm is welcome.
Yeah.
We just like to direct people to the right places to get the information to us. So we're not saying that your enthusiasm is misplaced or unappreciated. All right, so
I do think we have to bring back up the great Oz fun facts about the worm and how there's actually 17 miles of it underneath the ground.
I think I said
the largest war beast
I think I said
in the
8.
entire game.
Well,
It's a really big war beast. You
it's
don't
just-
know
you were
how
all
large-
very skinny, very long.
well, no,
how
it's
much worms are there?
one global war beast, and every Razer Worm is but like a tendril of it.
Oh, it's like an ancient desert hydra.
It's like an ancient desert hydra.
Global noodle.
It's just the tongue of some larger underground beast.
Do you know how hydras were made in the original fluff?
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm going to take 30 seconds to share this.
I think I don't know if it's just the original fluff.
No, it got changed.
It did get changed?
In the original fluff, when a desert hydra laid its eggs, it built a little arena in the sand and it laid all its eggs. When I say arena, like this big crater in the ground that the baby hydra couldn't get out. The eggs all hatched simultaneously, and each hydra came out as like a single, kind of like a Razer
snake,
Worm looking
yeah.
thing. They started fighting.
Razer Worm confirmed.
When one of them would kill the other one, it would eat its brain out of its head, then bite the neck off, and then bite its own neck and attach it to itself with no brain in it, and then that would regenerate, and then it would have 2 heads. So then the 2-headed little babies would fight the other 2-headed babies, but they'd kill it, they'd eat their brains out, cut the necks off, blah, 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 and only one baby survived.
There
and
can be only one.
That baby was the Desert Hydra, and that's how Desert Hydra babies are made.
Highlander Hydra.
You're welcome.
Except in the new edition, I believe that they're born as snakes with a single neck, and they slowly grow more necks the older they get.
It is far less metal these days.
Oh, it's way less deathmatch Highlander.
I choose to have the original canon with baby snake deathmatch.
I prefer the old one because that includes pitch harmonics and chords like C minor.
And that's in the old, like, original Monster Nomicons, the
And a
old
whole
school
bunch of
ones.
double bass.
Gromroll Fist in chat asks, wait, does that mean it's technically a 120mm base, so it gets all the effects of that? No, it's technically a 700mm base.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that does.
All right, let's get out of here. So everybody,
Yeah.
one more time, please join us tomorrow for Get Your Paint On with Dallas Kemp at 10 a.m. Pacific. Watch him paint things, ask him questions about painting, learn. Don't forget mini-crate.com. You have 2 more days left to get the Lady of the Feast. You can still sign up for the VIP and get your Alexia Handmaiden of Death. If you're interested in the Legend of the Five Rings, super sweet ninja models, Naga models, and all
They're
that.
not ninja models, they're samurai models. We haven't previewed a ninja yet.
Sorry.
They're samurai.
Those are 2 completely different
They're
things.
completely
Stop being
different
ignorant.
things.
Wow! Ninjas and
Let's
samurai.
just say that the setting has material that involves ninjas, samurai, shugenja,
All the other
courtiers,
words.
all kinds of cool stuff.
Yeah, but right now we're only doing samurai.
What is going on? Go check it out.
You're
Yeah.
from Louisiana, that's what's going on.
I said ninjas.
Yeah, not all warriors from Fantasy Asia are ninjas.
Doug's also calling out here. Why do you guys even try and talk about these things? Thanks, Doug.
Or he's talking about the
Yeah, he's
Hydra
talking about the
babies.
Hydra thing. It's from the old.
And then, of course,
Monster Omicron.
now, all the way through Halloween.
I was going to mention that.
Level 7!
Yeah, if you haven't yet checked out our Kickstarter for Level 7 Omega Protocols 2nd edition, then please do that. You can get there a number of ways. Go to Kickstarter, search for Level 7 or Omega Protocol, one of those words. Or look at any of our tweets or Instagram posts or
Yes,
the
yes.
Insider on the front page, all those things. You can get 3 different levels if you back it. You can get just the bonus materials, which includes a new alternate sculpt for the team leader. It's a female team leader model. You can get the core game and that bonus material, or you can get the core game, the bonus material, and the existing expansion.
Yes.
The existing expansion with anything else is not an option because you can buy that in stores, and we're keeping stock so that we can fulfill that everything.
Yeah, otherwise we run into
pledge.
like some weird problem of like
Yeah.
oh wait, there's not enough extreme prejudice for all the people that want
Yeah.
the new Omega protocol. Like so yeah, that's why that add-on doesn't.
And the second edition, like we've talked about, will change and clean up certain rules and incorporate a lot of errata and conversations that have been going on for the last 5 years about things that people weren't 100% clear on. I've been going through cards and like switching words and changing this and rewriting sentences and those kind of things to make everything clear.
Yep.
And you can see us play it, the full game, if you're not currently aware of how the game works
Was this-
or what it's about.
what is this?
You can see us play it twice. I was going to say that, but then I wanted to go
No,
back.
I like this. Come watch us play it.
So we played yesterday on our live stream, so you can watch it on Twitch. You can also watch it probably soon on
YouTube, but
on YouTube.
But last week's is up on YouTube.
The last week's game that went way better for the Commandos
I
I
played
did
in that
my
one.
job.
is on YouTube. So YouTube,
Meat Sack?
Privateer Press Prime. You played the large robot suit called a Meat Sack, which stands for something like MEATSAC.
Yep. And I had barrage pods, which are like.
He had a rocket shotgun. So yeah, you can see us play it if you're not completely aware of how the game functions and what it's about and stuff and
great
that kind of stuff. Also, the Get Your Paint On last week was me talking to Dallas while he painted the alternate sculpt for the team leader.
We're gonna do that some more tomorrow.
And tomorrow we're probably going to do that some more. So if you want to know more about Level 7, come on the live stream tomorrow, and we'll talk about stuff while Dallas paints something Level 7 related.
That was all entirely true.
Goodbye, everybody.
I normally only ever tell the truth.
Until you change the truth and call it a
Hey,
revision instead
I
of
control
cheating.
the truth.
You cheat a lot.
I don't cheat a lot.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
I sometimes forget things and then remember them later.